Hello, this is the second clip about text manipulation in the C# for Beginners playlist, and in it we will learn how to transform text. Let's get started. The most common operation you'll be doing is to convert all characters of a text to either uppercase or lowercase letters. Why? Because you may have something like this, and you may be surprised to see that only ended is printed. Why? Don't we have the string John, and aren't we comparing it to the string John? Yes, but the first one starts with a uppercase J and the second one with a lowercase j, and those are not the same. Remember, strings are sequences of characters, and characters store their value as Unicode numbers, meaning each letter, each symbol has a unique value, a unique number. And uppercase J has a different Unicode value than lowercase j, and thus the comparison fails. So what you could try to do is to use two if checks, one to see if it's with uppercase j, one with lowercase j, but that creates duplication. And as I already said, duplication should be avoided like plague. Not only that, but it's also brittle. What if the user types the second character, O, with uppercase? What if they type all characters uppercase? Will you write an if check for each of them? No, instead you take the text entered by the user, you convert all characters to lowercase, and you compare it against a string with lowercase characters, something like this. And now, by calling the toLower method, we obtain a new string with lowercase characters regardless of how the user typed it. So, now the if check passes. Of course, if we have toLower, we also have toUpper, which obviously converts it to all uppercase letters. Just as a side note, you should know that there are better ways to compare strings using culture and other stuff. This was just an example to illustrate what toLower and toUpper does. We will learn about those two in the future. Next, what if you want to remove unwanted characters? For example, some users, when they enter the email address, they will put a space after it like this. And maybe you get this as part of a database column. Maybe it got there when the user registered on the registration page. Doesn't matter. But if later on you want to use this email to search by it and do something like this, this will fail. Even though you converted the email address to lowercase characters and you compared it against a lowercase character string, the comparison fails because this one has a space and they are not the same. And in this case, this is a space, maybe you see it by mistake and you remove it, but some other times it's what's called white space, characters that are not visible, like new lines, tabs, etc. And in that case, you need to use a different method called trim. And now, it will work. That's because trim removes whitespace characters at the beginning and at the end of the string they are called upon. There are specialized versions of trim called trim start or trim end, which trim obviously at the start or only at the end of the string they are called upon. Finally, the third way of removing a portion of your string, not necessarily whitespace or at the beginning or end of the string, is the remove method, which removes a range of characters starting at a certain offset index and followed by an optional character count to remove, something like this. In the first version, we are only giving it the index from which to start to remove. And this indices, just like in the case of array, start at 0. Meaning when we tell it to start removing at the 5th position, it's actually the 6th character. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th position. And remove is inclusive, meaning when we say start removing from the 5th position, it's including that 5th position. So start removing including the space, from the space onward, inclusive. In the second case, we start removing at the 5th position, the 6th character again, but we also tell it how many characters to remove, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's why we have hello and the exclamation mark. This was for removing a part of a string, but what if you want to replace it? The explanation is simple. We have an original text and we replace a word with another word. Be careful, when I was a junior I was always forgetting that these methods all return a new string. So I was expecting to call greeting.replace and have the method replace the word world with Jane inside greeting directly without actually reassigning the result and etc. This is the end of the second lesson, and the next one will be the last one about strings, but it will also be the one where we learn a few more string methods, but also put together all this to create a working program. No, not a Zodiac application, something more complex. I'm thinking of two more examples that have application in real life. One would be a program that alerts us when some product is back into stock, or when its price changes, or some concert tickets are put into sale, stuff that you'd normally refresh a web page to see when the information becomes available. We can automate that. The second example is a bit more complex. It's what's called a web scraper, a program that arbitrarily allows us to take data from almost any website, like for example going to Wikipedia and trying to get the list of seasons of a TV show, and for each season get the list of episodes, and for each episode get the description. If you, for example, want to do this with The Simpsons, good luck with that. With tens of seasons and hundreds of episodes, do that manually. Instead, we can automate that. So if you're curious to see how we do that, subscribe and maybe also thank me by liking this video, and I'll see you in the next tech frame.